I want to raise some big questions, troubling questions. Will the killers of Mohammed Akhlaq walk free? Why is there no justice for Akhlaq even a decade later for his family? Is a hate crime like this being normalized? Did no one kill Akhlaq? Is the question I want to raise. Joining me now, Professor Faizan Mustafa, former Vice-Chancellor of Nalsar University. We also hope to be joined shortly by AK Jain, former DGP UP. But I want to come to you, Professor Mustafa. Is this a classic case of how the law betrays those who are the victims of hate crime? 10 years later, we have now an application being moved by the government to withdraw all the charges in a case where someone was brutally lynched. What does that suggest about our criminal justice system?
Thank you, Rajdeep. Criminal law is basically an instrument of a state. As you know, what becomes a crime or what is decriminalized is decided by the state. State prosecutes, state fixes the punishment, what punishment is to be given for a particular crime. And in criminal law, we should also remember that state can withdraw prosecution. Now, as you look at withdrawal of prosecution, it has been happening in number of states for political reasons. Number of governments, when they came to power, they withdrew cases saying that they were politically motivated. My big concern is, one, that this whole instant justice which crowds in different cities in India are administering, these are not, justices according to law. Due process of law has not been followed. This instant justice is mob justice. Lynching is something with which Americans may be familiar, but except the Bengali language, with which you must be familiar because of Sagarika, no other Indian language has an equivalent word for lynching. So lynching is absolutely un-Indian. Now, what does lynching signify in the first place? The state was brought into existence, if you follow the social contract theory of Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau, because people in a state of nature wanted security of their property and their lives. So if a state fails to give that security, the first failure is of the state. Two, lynching means that there is a group of people who are telling someone who may be a minority because of religion, or a sexual minority, or maybe a transgender, or maybe a Dalit, that law and state cannot protect you. And therefore, this is something very, very serious. Now, in this case, the reasons which are cited are interesting. They are saying that there is no consistency in the statements given by the victim's family. This happens all the time in criminal cases. Recently, in the Thari case, Surinder Kohli has been acquitted by the Supreme Court. So let the court of law find somebody guilty or not guilty on the basis of appreciation of evidence. The other reason they are saying is there was no prior enmity. If you are having a mob lynching, our criminal law since 1860, the old penal code and even the new law called Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, recognizes that if a crime is committed by more than two people, the intention may be developed on the spot. Then and there, people may develop some kind of intention. Then they are saying, no firearms were found. Some rods, iron rods were found, and sticks were found. Now, to kill somebody, you don't need a firearm. An iron stick is good enough. So I believe that the reasons are not convincing. The withdrawal of prosecution is absolutely a political decision, but this has been happening, in number of cases.
I'm going to stop you for a moment because you've raised very valid points. I mean, what shocks me is that we are making these fine distinctions between mob lynching and what really is a murderous assault. Now, as you rightly said, it's very difficult to define the word mob lynching. Truth of the matter, a murderous assault that led to the death of Akhlaq, and a political decision is taken 10 years later to withdraw the case. AK Jain, former UP DGP, joined me. Mr. Jain, what are we to understand? That the UP police, under the state's instructions 10 years later, has chosen to decide to withdraw all charges against Akhlaq's killers. Did no one kill Akhlaq, for God's sake, sir?
No, Akhlaq was murdered. There are no two opinions about it, whether firearms were used or not. Even iron rod and you can kill a person. One assault is enough to kill a person if you hit him on the head. So I was also reading articles on this, that there have been inconsistencies in the statements of the complainant and other witnesses. And as Mr. Mustafa was saying, that some arguments have been, it's in a court of law.
Sir, but Jain Saab, 10 years later, the UP police cannot put together a proper case, that it has to withdraw the charges 10 years later. I mean, prima facie, sir, it seems that this is a political decision being taken, and now the UP police is trying to wriggle out of it by suggesting that firearms were not used, iron rods were used, there is inconsistency in the victim statement. This is a classic example of how the law is an ass.
I don't think this is a statement of police. Police has submitted charge
This
sheet.
is the UP government affidavit, sir.
Yes, UP government affidavit is there, but not of UP police. UP police has not put forward any affidavit, and they are not supposed to do it also when the trial is going on and witnesses are being cross-examined. So this is what government has proposed. Now let us see what decision the court takes. Court will examine the evidence and they will take a decision. And in my opinion, it's a case of murder, and a trial should go on.
You're saying the trial should go on. A quick response, therefore, Faizan Mustafa. Do you see this case actually, therefore, resulting in convictions of those accused? Or is this the first step towards acquitting those who are involved because of their political connections? A quick response, sir.
Rajdeep, in criminal law, the benefit of doubt goes to the accused. So assuming what the UP government is saying, that there is inconsistency in the statement of the crucial witnesses, it would have resulted in acquittal. I don't mind acquittal in criminal cases. If going by the classical criminal law principle, high rate of conviction means that criminal justice system is bad and regressive. Now, what I'm trying to say that 2023, we are bringing a new section on lynching in the new criminal law. But even if that law is not retrospectively applied, as criminal law is not retrospectively applied, will not apply in this case. But it is a case, as DGP sir is saying, clearly covered by the definition of murder under the old penal code under section 300. What is required? You need to have intent to cause death, and you cause such bodily injuries which are likely to cause death, or such bodily injuries which are sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death. Or you do some act which is so imminently dangerous, it will result in somebody's death. All the ingredients of murder are satisfied. Exceptions are not available. On the face of it, it looks like a murder. But generally in such cases, the courts do not say it is murder. They say culpable homicide not amounting to murder. They may not give death penalty in such cases, but saying that we are withdrawing, we are sending a wrong signal. And why? Because the policy of the government is that we are bringing a law which is victim-oriented. Under the new law, you cannot withdraw prosecution without giving a hearing to the victims.
As you said, the new law cannot operate retrospectively. Will Akhlaq's killers, as a result, get away, is a question that we will keep asking. These are the real issues of our time, and we will continue to raise them here on the news today. We will tell truth to power, whichever part of the country. I appreciate my guest joining us.